let's get this out of the way. So, just doing a quick test. Are the volumes alright for this, guys? Because this is the recording that's just playing in the background. It seems like it might be a little bit quiet, but I don't know, maybe it's alright. I can't really make it any louder is the only issue. So, hey Andy, thanks Darkrai. Yeah, the run will start in a second once I've in the past hurried the fuck up and deleted the save data and whatnot. It's quiet. I might have to. So if I lower my microphone volume, so I'm gonna have to do that for now, and then I'll bump the gain slightly in post. So it'll be a little quieter overall, but then I can make it slightly louder in post if we want. Maybe a little bit louder on the mic. Here we go. This guy clearing the data. Good job, buddy. What number attempt do we reckon this is? I think this is probably 735 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I won't know until he starts the run. Away we go, 742. So that's almost correct. I have about 200 attempts in the early Brawly route. Yeah, I should do actual commentary here. So this is Pokemon Sapphire without glitches. And my name is Amoeba. Well, my actual name is not Amoeba, funnily enough. My mother did not have me in the womb for 9 months and decide to call me Amoeba. Should have pretended I was running it. I sort of debated pretending. Well, the pace was, and we'll get to this later on in the run, but the pace was so good. I was like, I can't really justify not streaming this at this point. Yeah, so this is Sapphire, any percent glitchless. Why do I pick the girl? Girl is faster. Feel free to ask questions. Please ask questions like this because there's definitely going to be downtime throughout the run where I don't have much to say. But yeah, girl is faster because you have a better rival to fight and the male rival says less text. Yeah, let's talk about late Brawly versus early Brawly. So the route for this game for the longest time used to fight Brawly as the second gym leader, and that fight was horrendous. I did do runs of that route end of last year and got like a 200 in the end. Thought the run was okay, didn't really take it too seriously. And then it was recently rerouted by Pokeguy with the aid of other talented Pokemon speedrunners to move Brawly late, so similar to how Emerald does it, where Brawly is the 4th gym leader that you do on the way back to normal. It does make some of the other early game fights between where you would normally do Brawly and like Watson a little bit worse, but it just makes the category so much more enjoyable. You end up getting a lot more runs into like the mid game, and it's faster, so benefits all round. Yeah, so with this new route I went from a 200, I think I got a 159 at some point early on this year, then a 157, like a high 157 probably a couple of months ago, and then the PB that's showing on my splits in this video, the low 157, was quite recent. So, first thing in the run is to manipulate. Oh wow, I opened up the trainer card on this run. Blessed. Garbage. I have a feeling there's going to be so many random mistakes in the early game here because I was tired when I did this run last night. I know there's some other ones coming. I can remember a few of the other ones. But yeah, you guys can't see me because I've got my camera over the top of it because at the moment, let's give you a nice little preview, this is what I looked like when I was running it. I looked a mess. This is what Pokemon speedrunning does to you. It is a serious issue. Please take it seriously. Yeah, I was just completely on autopilot for the early game here. So this is not going to be the cleanest early game by any means. But yes, we've manipulated a Mudkip with set stats. This Mudkip has excellent attack, very good at everything else, and the entire route is basically built around getting this Mudkip. So we do extend this minute into Encounterless based on the NPC movements. Oh, I got nothing into left. That is path 5. So I'll hug the wall here, I'll hug the top grass here, I'll walk through a ton of grass here, and then a fairly short path through the last 2, and that will guarantee no encounters. Is early game faster shirtless? Yes. World record is shirtless for half this run. And the run only goes downhill once I put a shirt on, so you know. How many path cases? So there's 6 different paths. However, I've never hit path 4 before. There's only one set of frames that can get path 4, and I've just never hit it myself. I've hit everything else though. 1, 2, 3's my most common one by a long way. 5 and 6 very occasionally. Thanks Claire, thanks Tepit. Yeah. Weird rival 1 fight. What did I get here? So I got Lear Pound, which is kind of good. You want to leave here with more than 9 HP, or more than 8 HP ideally. Yeah, not too much to talk about here until we get past the birch section. The big RNG in this first... So I have a mart split at the top of the splits. I'm about the only person that seems to do this. Most people just have it as a mental split, but I like... Excuse me. I like having it here because a lot of the stuff that's now in the new Roxanne split is execution based. Now that Pooch is generally minute, or there is a minute for Pooch, and ideally you would like to hit it, it gives you a good indication of like, so if you got a Roxanne time and it said 16, you know, you get a 16 1x, whatever, it's like, you know, did I play really well and got average luck, or did I actually play kind of ass and got really good luck? You can't really tell. But with the Mart split, you've got a good idea, because the Mart contains all of the... Amoeba hype. Thank you for the 500 bits, Darkrai, much appreciated. Yeah, the Mart split contains all of the RNG, basically, all of the encounters and the Calvin fight. Not all of it, but as much of it as it can. Well, thank you very much. Bits much appreciated. So this is like where we actually get let loose. I've been having some real struggles with the early game in this run again recently. Lots of deaths to Calvin. Calvin was, especially this weekend, Calvin had been on an absolute tear of just killing me. Normally you just bleed tons of time with loads of growls and... Yeah, you normally, like, you might end up with a 5 or 6 turn fight. Instead, Calvin just seemed to be on a mission to murder me as quickly as possible. I didn't remember I got a crit there. It's really fucking good, because this guy loves to growl. See, look, 2 tackles. Win the speed tie? Easy! Wow, that's a really good Calvin fight. I didn't realise. God damn. Thanks, Gnome Sane. When did I reshirt? Yeah, I reshirted right before going live. That would be terrible, Matt. Hey, Dennis. Congrats, you. Well, congrats and commiserations. You had the second funniest message in the record VOD. Unfortunately, beaten by the fact that the only time that I opened my chat for that entire endgame was to see one message from Macwing which said something along the lines of, "Call me a Geodude because I'm polishing my rock right now." Whatever it was. Unfortunately, it was just funny. It caught me off guard. I might have to switch to my camera in early Victory Road because you can see when I see the message because I'm just laughing at it. But yours was pretty good too. Yeah, so this was... So you can tell from the Mart split, this was a really good split. 11 to my best is very, very good. What did I get? 1 encounter... okay rival 1, really good Calvin. This is really what you want. Fairly certain this was the first sub 8 I'd had all day as well, because I'd streamed about 2 or 3 hours earlier on yesterday, and then this particular run started about an hour into attempts. Can shiny Ralts die here? Yes. Oh, actually, I don't know. There might not actually be an RNG combination available where Ralts can be both shiny and die. They're both very unlikely. They might just not exist. I don't know what route. I don't know where or how Ralts checks for shininess. I would have thought it's against your own secret ID, but I could be wrong. Was my only encounter a Lotad? That is pretty cool. Kind of funny as well. I think I had Joanna's stream on in the background while I was doing resets. She was hunting for shiny Swablues in the grass before Meteor falls and was getting frustrated with loads of Lotads. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Yeah. So this could be. I mean, I don't entirely remember. I feel like I don't hit Pooch Manip here. If this is the run that I'm thinking of, I think I get a path that works, and then the actual fight, I just get like a 5 or a 6 hit, and I just don't seem to actually find any good frames. So this is a manip to manipulate Wingull, which is the Pokemon we will use to teach Fly. It will also be used in a fight coming up in Roxanne's gym, and we extend this manip into manipulating a quick Aqua Pooch fight straight afterwards, ideally. The Aqua Pooch manip is a very recent addition. There's a very cool manip discovered by, well, not discovered because that's not how it works, but created by Magwing. I'm a little disappointed because I do think I don't hit 3 turn here, which is a real shame because that would be a nice thing to have in the record. That's why I'm waiting here with timing RNG. So let me check what the actual NPC does. Oh no, I just didn't hit a path, and I never noticed. Sorry, Macwing, I failed you. Whenever you, because of the thing that you have, so you have to check the NPC movement, and if he's facing down, you have to adjust to run up 1 tile at a certain point, where I did in this run. But because of how it times, you can't check what it's really difficult to check what the NPC is doing and get the movement properly. So I've committed that if I see the NPC looking down, I just do the movement and assume I've hit the manip, which is why you see me waiting here, even though actually I'm not on a manip at all. I completely missed it and didn't realise. So that is a bit of a shame. I do get a really good fight here, ultimately. Yeah, I 5 hit, and I get to slap the final turn. Hello, Macwing. Just in time for your minute that I didn't hit. I'm so sorry. But next record for sure is... Yeah, for anybody that wasn't here at the end of the run yesterday, I am not going to stop for now. I'm not committing to getting a better time or even PBing, but I think I'm going to basically do another... somewhere between like 2 weeks and a month, I'm going to give it. For reasons that will become obvious the further we get into this run. This PB is a bit bittersweet. Ash, what are you doing, man? Come on then. Don't climb up on my desk. Hello. So yeah, this is where we're going to use Wingull. So Emerald, by comparison, has to mud slap this Geodude 6 times. Mostly because if you were to catch a Wingull, you'd have to fight a double fight that's optional in Sapphire. but the Wingull that's manipulated is so that if you water gun here, it without a crit it never kills, and apart from the very min roll, it leaves Geodude in range of one Mud Slap. These trainers, and mostly just to get experience, to make Roxanne reasonable, and to make the Rival 2 split feasible, really. This is a lot of free experience, considering it's one turn fights every time. Not that interesting now. You are just mashing water gun. For anybody that's watching on YouTube who's not familiar with Pokemon speedrunning or speedrunning stuff in general, there is a little input display in the top left. So I'm running the game on the Game Boy Player, which is an attachment for the GameCube. That's how I can capture the footage like this, rather than having to play in a Game Boy Advance. And the software I'm using for the Game Boy Player is like a homebrew software. So the actual hardware is just running Game Boy Player hardware, and it it's like a Game Boy, it just works exactly the same as a Game Boy Advance. But we can soft mod the software so that I've got an input viewer at the top left, so you can see me mashing A and B right now, and there's a little D-pad. This is really good health for Roxanne. So 29 HP going into Nose Pass means that I can growl turn 1. The ideal scenario here is that you get Rock Tomb turn 1 into Rock Throw turn 2. Which gives you Torrent for the first water gun that you use, which gives you a shot to skip a potion. It's really, really rare for him to do that though. It's quite rare to see Rock Tomb turn 1. It's really rare to not see Harden turn 2, unfortunately. There's also critting on this turn would save a ton of time because you'd skip 2 potions. But this is the reason why we growl. So I'm now at 11 HP, which is Torrent, which ups the power of my water type moves, but after a growl, Rock Throw and Rock Tomb do at most 10, so it can't kill me in one turn. So I get a big damage. So no potion skips or anything, but Torrent for most of the fight makes that a lot quicker. I think that saves 2 turns, maybe 3. And Roxanne split times. Anything under 1630 is good, like pretty good. I'm going to get a 1630 on the dot here, but that's perfectly fine. And then 15s are amazing. It's really what you would like, but you'll happily take a 1630, and you'll begrudgingly take like 1640, 1650 sometimes. I'm already 12 seconds ahead of previous record. We've also got Torrent as well, which is going to should make the Juford split about as good as it can be. However, I do run into an issue that's at one point in the split. No spoilers yet. While we're going, so for this whole route, we're just going to fight this optional trainer, fight a required trainer, and then run back. So while we're here, I am going to mention, so there is a step counter on my splits at the bottom that says -16 at the moment. That is something I've worked on, but doesn't end up coming into use for this run. The idea of it is to track your step counter. So the initial idea is that I've done a run through on emulator. No, I'm going to have to keep going back further. So the initial purpose of it is that when you do manipulations, if you have any kind of movement in them, you need to know how many steps you've taken throughout the entire run. You don't need to know exactly, but to be able to create the manip accurately, you need to understand how many steps you've taken in the run, because every 128 steps that you take, the game does an RNG roll to give each Pokemon in your party more happiness. I think the RNG roll itself is because the amount of happiness they can get varies slightly. So every 128 steps that you take from getting your Pokemon advances the RNG once for every Pokemon that you have in your party. What this means is later on in the run when we RNG manipulate Kyogre, general consensus for that RNG manipulation is to save one tile away from Kyogre, because then you can guarantee not getting an RNG rollover, because the RNG check won't happen when you walk onto the tile that starts the Kyogre minute. So by saving one tile away, you guarantee that you're never going to get that random RNG advancement. The point of me having this step counter was that I did a run through on emulator with perfect movement, quote unquote, to determine how close the next RNG rollover would be once you got to Kyogre. And the answer to that was 16 tiles after you got to Kyogre. So if you wasted 16 or less tiles compared to perfect movement across the run, you would be able to build in some of the movement heading towards Kyogre, which would save however much movement you built in's worth of time, because you have to wait a certain amount of time to be able to catch the Kyogre. The catch window just exists at a point, so if it's 10 seconds away, you have to wait 10 seconds. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're standing still or if you're running about, you just have to wait 10 seconds. So ideally, if there's movement that we have to do, we'd like to do it as part of the manip, rather than doing the manip from next to Kyogre and then just standing there for 10 seconds doing nothing. We'd like to build that in. However, I was a coward on this run and didn't trust my work, and I still don't trust my work. I'm going to have to actually go at some point soon, do another run through on emulator and verify that I trust the step counter that I got, because it's really annoyingly finicky. The ideal scenario would have been I did that initial test run and it's like, oh, you know, it doesn't roll over for 60 tiles. It's like, well, you're always going to get there. You know, we only really need 10 tiles of movement to ideally optimize the Kyogre minute with the movement. So if it rolled over 60 tiles away, you've got 60 tiles of movement back and forth to not get either of like the previous rollover or the next rollover. But that unfortunately didn't work out. So that step counter will get updated throughout the run, but it ends up not being of any use. We do pick up and sell Bullet Seed here. This is part of the new route. For anybody that might have watched the previous Sapphire record or be familiar with the previous route, there are changes between. I've discussed the early Brawly, late Brawly thing. But more specific changes is picking up that Bullet Seed to sell it for early game items, and also fighting one of these, either that lady that I've just run past or the rich boy just below Petalburg. This is basically, in the old route we used to fight a random Pokemon on the route north of Rusturf for experience, because we need a little bit of experience. We now combine getting that experience from this trainer, or the lady before Petalburg was, and also getting, I think it's $1,500 or whatever it is by beating them. It's a ridiculous amount of money. So, it's a nice 2-for-1 here, 1,400. So yeah, now we're on the way to Duelford. In the previous route we would be fighting Brawly and then doing the manipulation to get Abra. Obviously in this route we're going to delay Brawly. Now unfortunately, and this is a slight spoiler for about 10 seconds away, I don't get first try Abra, which would technically be like a scum rookie mistake. However, in my defense, the reason I don't get first try Abra is not because it is because ultimately I fucked up. But here, when I'm trying to do the manip, so normally you'd wait on this text box, and somehow when I pressed A to clear that text box once, I fumbled the press and caught A twice. And I'm not supposed to immediately advance that second continue window. I'm supposed to time it. So it did cost me probably about 10 seconds. GameCube controller issue. No, it was entirely on me being probably a bit too tired really to be doing runs. But I always say that. I'm always too tired, so I just have to accept that. But yeah, normally if you fail Abramanip, it's a bit longer than 10 seconds, because normally you don't really fail it until the movement, so in a way it's like not a true, I took an extra tile there, could have got an encounter. This is what I mean about being a bit too tired. Just tiny little mistakes that if I was on my game I wouldn't quite be making. What was I saying before that? Yeah, it's not like exactly second try. It's like at 1.5 tries. An Abramanip is an Abramanip. You can't say it's only a half. Well, TJ Henry Yoshi. This is me talking to my cat, by the way, not my armpit. You guys can't see him. So yeah, I mean, this Dewford split could have been better. Ultimately, I had potential to save most of that 6 seconds. My best split here is amazing. I've like very rarely ever come close to it. I don't really know what hot shit I was on when I set that particular best. I remember setting it, but I can't get anywhere near it. How hard is the Abramanip compared to getting the right Mudkip? So the continue window is I think 5 frames, maybe even 6 if you know the adjust for like 1 frame early. So comparatively, it's a doddle. You should always hit. In theory, you should always hit that big of a frame window. The problem with that Abramanip is that the continue timing is really, really quick. It's like you have like maybe 0.3 of a second spare between optimally getting through the intro and how much time you actually have to wait for the continue timing. And then the movement for half of the frames kind of sucks. You have to do a 1 tile turn back, like right left, and that can be quite finicky. In principle, a top level runner should always hit it. So it does suck that I missed it once, but I missed it in a weird way. Just one of them weird mistakes. But yeah. So, consequence of having Torrent for Dewford and having quite a good Roxanne fight means that my HP coming into this fight sucks ass. And this is one of the negative changes between this route and the old one. So in the old route you'd have Marsh Stomp here, and you would just mudshot the fish and it would be a free fight. Here, you're pretty much always leaving Roxanne in like the single digits HP, barring like weird Roxanne fights, so you potion to about 2/3 HP. This Carvana does like, well, it does this much damage with bite. And I also got flinched, so this is horrendous. This is like, I'm dead to any bite and I've got 3 turns to get through. Crit tackle really, really fucking saves me. That gets me back to about normal. Now I just need to win the speed tie, and I do. But that can rapidly go downhill. Seeing bite flinch turn 1's about as bad as it gets. Focus energy into bite's also horrendous, because a bite crit will do somewhere between 30 and 38 damage. Nice little indication of the pace that I'm on as well at the bottom of the split. So this is like the 27th best run out of 103 that I've got here. Really annoying health here as well, so at 1 less HP and I'd have Torrent and I can water gun this and not risk the misses. And if Zubat hit me once, it would knock me to 16 or less, and then I could have potioned to 36, which would have been nearly ideal health for Rival 2. So the way Rival 2 is going to work is we've got a lot of setup on the Numal. If you have really high health, like 37 or above, it will favour using Growl, and we're trying to set up X attack, so you can't get growled. It just destroys that. The whole fight, you can't be above 36 health. but you're also setting up 3x attacks and an X speed, and it's going to spam tackle or ember for 5 to 6, well 5 to 7 damage, depending on what it uses. So ideally you want to be able to tank 4 tackles, which is 24 HP. So I'm at a sucky health here, where I don't tank enough damage, but I also can't heal without potentially risking ground. So I'll just have to heal in the fight, unless I get multiple tackle misses. Spoiler alert, I don't. Nice little correction there. Not correction, but pause minute on the spinner. Thanks, brownies. So the principle of this fight, 3x attacks and an X speed. The X speed doesn't allow us to outspeed Groval initially, but it will allow us to outspeed Groval after a mud shot. And the 3x attacks gets the 2 hit on Groval. Yeah, unfortunately I had to potion here, can't help that. So I should explain a little bit about spinners as well for anybody that might be watching that's new. Trainers that spin around randomly, or trainers that spin around predictably aren't particularly a concern, but trainers that spin around randomly, we actually have consistent ways to get past them. We can force them to look in certain directions by running to certain tiles. This Groval is extremely scary, by the way. Getting crit is dead. Missing mudshot or tackle is dead. But obviously I don't die. Yes, we have ways of using running, biking, and even pausing sometimes to be able to guarantee passes on spinners to avoid having to do entirely optional fights. I won't go too much into the depth of it here, but when I talk about like run to bikes or talk about spinner minips or bag minips or whatever, it's to avoid getting caught by a trainer and having to do an entire extra optional fight. For instance, you're going to see a bag minip here, and this is because this trainer can look down. So I'm going into the menu just to reset his spinner time, and then I can walk past. This guy's a rotator, but we use running to force him to look down, walk around the top of him, and then we can run away afterwards. And then once we get to Morval, we get to actually have fun because we can get the Mac bike, and the Mac bike is fast. From memory, I think my Mac biking was pretty good in key areas in this run. I think it was a bit sketched towards the end of the run because I was so nervous. But I think it was alright. We'll see, we can judge it. Should probably give some like rankings to the split so far as well. That Mart split's an A, that Roxanne split's B. Yeah, it's probably a B. Juford split's a B. Rival 2 was an A, maybe even an S. It looks bad against my PB, but my PB before this one was a best split for Rival 2. It was quite hard to beat. More changes from the previous route, so you would be a higher level on the old early Brawly route. You wouldn't heal from memory, I think. You'd use Torrent Water Gun a bit more. And you'd also go into the Watson fight a bit lower health. Hey, it was. I almost got bonked the Sky Ball. Almost. So this is quite a scuffed section of the run, like the Watson split through to Norman. We're heavily reliant on Mudshot, which has 95% accuracy. And there are certain Mudshots you can miss and get away with, but missing a Mudshot in the first place is going to lose you 11 seconds alone from having to take another turn. if not, potentially losing more time, depending on how bad you get trolled because you missed. Thanks, Longback. I think, yeah, this is also a different fight compared to the previous route. I feel like the Meditite died in one before, but I could just be wrong on that. That seems a bit wrong with how little that mudshot does. Ideally as well, because we always super potion to full before the Watson gym, but ideally we want to go into Watson with less than full health, significantly less than full health, to try and avoid supersonic. 57 out of 60 is not significant, so I was quite likely here to see supersonic. There's certain like combinations here, so ideally in this scenario we just get Sonic Boom from the Magnemite, because we have to set up an X speed on it. We get Sonic Boom from the Magnemite, which would A, not be supersonic, which is great, and B, would drop our health low enough to do the regular Cool Trainer Brook fight coming up after this gym, which I'll explain once we get close to that. Supersonic hitting, while it would suck, does mean that we then full heal, which then guarantees seeing Sonic Boom the next turn. So we still take the damage. It's a bit slower, but we still take the damage. In a way, the worst case scenario is supersonic, but it misses, because then you can't really take the extra turn, so you're very unlikely to get the damage that you want for CTB. It is technically as fast as Sonic Boom, but it's way less safe. So of course I got Supersonic Miss. So now I'm sort of praying here. So Voltorb's got, what does it have? It's got an electric move which I'll never use. It's got Roll Out, Sonic Boom, and Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct would have worked. I would have actually tanked it barring a crit. Sonic Boom would have brought my health down low enough that it would have been good. Tackle was basically the only bad option, so I got Tackle. But yeah, otherwise, a fairly clean Watson split, but the setup here is horrendous for CTB. So normally the Cool Trainer Brook fight, CTB, would be X attack turn 1 on the Wingull, then mash strength. But it's reliant again on having low enough health that CTB doesn't want to use status moves or, you know, non-offensive moves. Like if your health's low enough, it will just prioritize using Wing Attack and Water Gun. But its other two moves are Supersonic and Growl. Supersonic wouldn't be the end of the world because I have a full heal, but Growl, when you're trying to set up an X attack, is terrible. So because my health is so high, instead what I want to do here is strength kill the Wingull immediately, X attack on the Roselia. There's a few potential issues with that. So the Roselia's Mega Drain does up to like 58 damage, and the Wingull is a speed type. So if the Wingull outspeeds me and damages me, Mega Drain is a range here. If the Wingull outspeeds me and growls, I'm dead if the Roselia uses Mega Drain, because at that point I still two-shot with Mudshot and Strength, but if it Mega Drains after the Mudshot, it heals all that damage off, and then it just kills me again with another Mega Drain. And if it outspeeds Supersonics, I'm screwed because I'm confused on a Roselia. There is an argument to be made here to actually potion the extra 4 damage. So I'm only 4 HP from full, and if I potioned, then I could actually survive Wing Attack plus Mega Drain almost all the time. But I didn't view it as worth it because that scenario only really crops up like 1 in 8 times. So you'd have to get outspared. It'd have to pick Growl. No, sorry, it'd have to pick a damaging move, which is not likely to do. Then Roselia would also have to pick Mega Drain rather than Stun Spore, and it's going to want to prefer like Stun Spore or Growth because you're at high health. So it was a little risky, but I opted not to heal this. just accepted that if the run died, it died. But yeah, this CTB fight was gonna suck going into it. The best scenario is you outspeed Wingull turn 1, turn 2 Roselia uses growth when you X attack, and then it's basically as good as the regular fight. Or it misses stun spore. So I got the outspeed, so rewarded for not potioning, that's really good. So here I'm begging for like growth or stun spore miss. As I settle the X attack. It can't kill me with Mega Drain here, so it's going to use a status move. Unfortunately, it hits stun spore, so I have to use the full heal. But then it growths, so a little slow. We lose 1 turn compared to the regular fight. Well, nothing too bad. My execution's not been too bad so far, other than the weird early game mistakes. Well, no, okay, so the other game was pretty bad, but the mid-game execution so far has been alright. And then it all starts to fall apart. I was having a weird mental block past few days with this section, especially the section coming up after this market trip. I like was really struggling with the movement for some reason. I will tell you exactly how I was feeling when we get there, don't you worry, but thank you for the congrats. Cat out all over me now, thanks Ash. Previous record, so this what I'm comparing to, the 1:56:47 in the splits was by Gunner. Mid last year? Could be wrong. So we go for early Persim here because I've used the full heal. This will lose time in this split, obviously, but then I'll be able to save some of it back in the Winona split. You've never seen this? Oh, yeah. If you use the full heal, then getting the Persim there is really nice. Because you've got to pick up a Persim anyway. This is 8 extra tiles of movement. Yeah, because I calculated it. It's only 8. And you then have not only do you have the Persim that you need for Kyogre, but you also have an extra confusion heal for Archie 1. Why didn't I update my splits? These are the splits that I was using out on the time of the run. Yeah. So this is the video. The reason why we're doing this is because when I was doing this run at this point, I had very messy hair and was shirtless. So this is a slightly more attractive getup. Is like Emerald where you can use multiple Persims, or do you just need one for Love Disc? No. So yeah, you only ever need... The main strategy is just to use one as an attachment on Kyogre for Wallace. Or whatever his name is in this. Yeah, it is Wallace. There are like multiple points you can get confused in that fight. But on average, you're really only ever going to use one. And at the point where you have... See, that did screw this... Oh, don't watch this. That was not safe at all. I remember that right as it happened. I've just gone back to myself yesterday. That pass was horrendous. Nobody fucking learned what I just did because it was all bad. I just completely blanked when I didn't quite get the tile that I expected to get. I like went one tile too low and I was like, I don't know how to back this up. For some reason. I know exactly how to back it up if I actually think about it, but I think I just panicked in the moment. No, Ash, come on. Stop walking across my desk. But yeah, that was not good. That was actually a Jadiri pass. Not talking to mum is indicative of a newbie runner, not a top level, whatever the quote is. Anyway, getting lucky is not a crime. Yeah, that pass was horrendous. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep blaming being tired. Really have an excuse. That was just bad. Which is kind of a shame because my biking had been pretty good up until that point. There was a slight flub around picking up the nugget in Falliver, but it was alright up until now. But yeah, we got lucky on that hike. I get lucky a few times this run. So we're coming up to Archie. I've really switched my mindset on this fight because when I was learning this run and doing this route in particular, I was really set on 1x attack on Mighty Enna and setting the second one up on Golbat so you avoid the 25% heal range chance. But getting sand attacks and then not hitting into heal range is so fucking fast that I like sort of just YOLO it now. To the point where I think going forward when I do like improve the record attempts, I'm not going to bother with early person because I'm never going to go for a... Or I'm going to be trying to play this fight for optimal, basically. For always going for double X attack on Archie if I can, if the situation allows. Sometimes you can't. If you get like oops all bites from the Mighty Enna, you might just have to do X attack number 2 on Golbat. But yeah, there's 2 ways of doing this fight. You need to set up a speed and 2x attacks to be able to 2-shot. You only need 1x attack to be able to 2-shot the Mighty Enna. You need the second X attack up on Golbat to be able to 2-shot it. But if you hit with 2 strengths at 2x attacks, the first one has a 1 in 4 chance of knocking it into heal range where Archie super potions it. So in an ideal scenario, you would want to hit the first strength on Golbat with 1x attack, set up another X attack, and then strength again so that it guarantees the kill. The problem is with that is that Golbat really likes to use Supersonic unless you're on quite low health. This is low enough that I should always get wing attack here. And ended up in a scenario where I set up both X attacks on the Mighty Enna and then just luckily didn't roll high enough to get the heal range on Golbat. I did useless crit both Pokemon though. This was still a very fast fight. I'm going to appear to lose quite a bit of time. Not that much. And the majority of that is because of early person. I've effectively stolen 10-15 seconds from this split, and I'll be able to save that later in Winona. Yeah, not too bad. Really good Archie fight. And then we get into like the first of 2 gauntlets in this run. The Flannery fight into the entire Norman split are horrendous. I remember lamenting Emerald's Flannery fight for the longest time, thinking that it was such a secret killer that it was like actually horrendous and such a terrible fight. Somehow, Sapphire's is worse. This fight is just ass. Yeah. Torkoal's gonna just hate. Like, at least in Emerald, Torkoal has one move that if it uses it, it's like, oh, that works. Like, if it's Sunny Days, it's like, oh, cool. As long as I hit both one-shots, I'm fine. It does not have a move that you want to see in Sapphire, it just has bad moves. Well, actually, it has Flail. It'll never use Flail for it. You can shut up. Come meowing at me. No, come on, you're not coming up right now. You've been sat on my knee for half an hour. Ow. Thanks, Harry. Yeah, we've got to use 4 mud shots. All with 95% accuracy, and set up an X attack on the second Slugma. Ideally this guy uses Light Screen because Light Screen doesn't have any detriment whatsoever. And I thought I got Sunny Day in this run. Light Screen's really good. Light Screen's fast. Like, Sunny Day is not terrible, but it's quite slow on the text. Light Screen's pretty good. Flamethrower kind of sucks because there's a chance that it burns, and it puts you into like kill range for a lot of moves. So yeah, this gun body slam, which can para, and I'm dead if it paras. It can attract, and if I get fully immobilized twice, I'm almost always dead. So that was really, really clean fight. It was a really fast fight as well. Attract and just get through turn 2 was really, really quick. Body slam power is nearly always dead because it then outspeeds you, and because of the damage, overheat kills you. So it's other move. I'd say overheat. And flail, but it basically never uses flail. I got the record last night. I went live, so I started to run doing some attempts offline, like late in the evening, and then just got this run, and it slowly got really, really good. I started streaming just after Winona, I think, or before maybe. So I haven't actually streamed the entire run yet, although I've got it all locally recorded, which is what we're watching right now. And the recording I've got has like doesn't have me speaking up until the champion fight. So. No, I mean I didn't stream it. It started offline. Yeah, I did stream earlier yesterday. But yeah. So I want to A, talk over it so that there's some actual commentary, and B, cover up the image of me playing without a top on for the first hour of this run. In a way, no, I was kind of tired. So there was some sort of like crappy newbie mistakes in the early game for this run. And then I think once you pass Flannery, it's like, oh, okay, you've just got to start paying attention now. We're actually on a run. If I remember rightly, the Brawly split in this run was insane. Like, I didn't have to heal. My execution was just great. Like, you can see I've switched on now. Like, that menu was mwah, beautiful. And I think this movement, it wasn't perfect. I think there's one bonk here. I remember being like, oh, that was nice. That's an intentional bonk. I mean, I'm talking about the unintentional one, obviously. That was clean. Yeah, I mean, that was lovely. Was the one bonk, or did I do it perfectly? Oh, so close. That was almost perfect movement. About as good as it's ever going to be. So yeah, I mean, this pace is already, like, good. You can see from pace placements, the top 10 run out of Flannery. And then Brawly makes it, like, not to spoil it, but there's not much going on in the rest of this split. Brawly makes it, like, way better. Like, the only things you can really lose time on here are getting detect from this Meditite. And then there's a 14 and 16 range with Mudshot on matchup. And this was, after this Brawly split was the point where I knew it's time to start paying attention, because the pace you kind of want out of Norman for a recordable time at this point is like a mid 59 or lower. So record gets a 59.22, my PB got a 59.26. I knew I was going to be ahead here of my Brawly split in my last PB slightly, and I knew I had 45 seconds of potential time save in the Norman split. I was like, oh, this could get good. What impact did late Brawly have on the run in terms of safety? Is it strictly safer, or is there more risk? It basically takes the Brawly risk and spreads it out into little bits throughout museum fights, throughout Rival 2, and throughout the Watson split, up until about CTB. So yeah, that was a best by 0.2. But yeah, really good Brawly split. But yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, it's probably no safer actually than the early Brawly route. It's just way more fun. Like getting 3 runs in a row that make it 20 minutes into the run and you just die to match up every time is boring as fuck. Like, I cannot stress how much the late Brawly route has made this run insanely more fun for me personally. Early Brawly was like 70%. I think that might be optimistic. I think it might be lower than that. But yeah, It was not good. What made the Brawly split so fast? I didn't have to heal after the Torkoal fight because it used Attract and then I just got through. And then my movement and menus were just perfect. I did all the execution in that split really, really well. That's probably the best split in the whole run, like, in terms of my execution. Like, there was one bonk and it like cost me a turn frame. It was like 8 frames at most. Because I bonked right next to Bryony rather than talking to him. So yeah, you can see from my splits, 43 seconds of potential time save here. That is against a split that gets like every good crit under the sun. There's loads of crits here that can save time. There's Delcatty, so we want a double mud shot, then mortar gun, that gives it 1 turn. Moves that you want to see on this second turn, Sing Miss. You don't really want to see Sing because with X-Hack it really often hits. Sing Miss is good though, Growl is really good. I get Sing Miss, which is great. Double slap with that doesn't roll too many turns is also quite nice. What's its other move? Attract. Attract's terrible. Well, Attract's not terrible if you win the coin flip, but hey. I've got to this fight before, got Attract, and then lost the coin flip 7 times, so yeah. This Linoon, it's generally just mud shot and then 3 strengths. If you crit turn 1 or 2, that saves 2 turns, which is really, really nice. This is one of the best crits in the run, if you can get it. If not the best crit in the run. Especially if you go in at full health, so you have to heal for the Zangoose. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, I don't get it. But I do get a very clean Linoon fight. So it can sand attack as well, which can obviously make things terrible. You really only ever have the health to survive. At most 3 hits, often just 2. This is the hardest menu in the run. There's just a lot to do here and none of it flows very well. I think I did this pretty well. Yeah, not too bad. Overscrolled the route. Well, that's not too bad. This Zangoose is at range. I have no idea what it is. It's fairly good, but it's not amazing. And then when you miss it, like it will slash you and slash crit kills, and it's used a die hit, so it's like 1 in 4 to crit. Thankfully I get the world's best first roll. I don't think you can, with it short of missing a mud shot, I don't think you can actually miss the range from that. And then it's Norman. And this guy has a excellent turn frame, good job buddy. This guy has a nasty habit of critting when you're on good paces. So at this point I was like, you know, I'm on to save 20 seconds. You know, I'm probably close to a 58 maybe, because I'm already 9 seconds ahead of PB, and I was like, I'm maybe saving 20 seconds, this might be 58able if I get a clean Norman fight. And for context, the best Norman time I've had before this run was a 59 flat. So Facade turn 1's good because it's not Yawn. Facade turn 2 is excellent because it's not Yawn. Ideally, once you've taken 2 Facade, you'd really like to see Feint Attack here, because you might stand a chance at skipping a second heal. You get Feint Attack and then Zangoose low rolls, or Vigoroth, sorry. Unfortunately I get Facade again, but it's whatever. We didn't get crit, which is the important point. Getting crit at any point in this fight is death. And missing can often death, if not shitloads of time loss. Need to leave Vigoroth with at least 45 health. And it's a 2-shot. Slash is always scary here. I just kind of tensed at this point and was like, yeah, I know I'm gonna die. And then it didn't happen. What a world. But yeah, if I'd have got Feint Attack, I might have been able to skip this heal. Slash doesn't kill for the full if it crits. It does just cost you time if you have to re-heal. And then from here it's just hit 3 mud shots, hit the range, don't get crit, all the usual. That first roll was amazing. wasn't too worried about this range after that one. Slightly worried about hitting it into heal range, but then that second roll was terrible, so it sort of evened out, and I still needed an okay roll here. Which I got. And then I looked at my timer and realised, oh fuck me, this is not going to scrape a 58, it's going to be like a 58 4x. I actually inherently do not understand how I only lost 10 seconds to my best split, because I know my best split crits the Delcatty and turn 2 crits the Linoon. My best split here is insane, so it's kind of weird to me, because like my best split literally saves 3 turns from crits, and somehow I was 10 seconds off it. Well, I guess that's just what a you know, a clean Norman split without any significant time losses actually looks like. So, probably the actual answer is probably that the split, my best split that did get those crits, probably got a terrible Norman fight or a slow Norman fight or whatever. And it is at this point where I'm having thoughts of putting a shirt back on and starting stream. He wasn't faster at -2, it's just that Focus Punch always gives you that text. If it charges Focus Punch, it'll always give you the he's charging Focus Punch text. Because Focus Punch always moves last. But yeah, this is, you can see from the pace placement, we've gone from like, I think this was the 5th best Brawly time I've ever had, to this is the best Norman split I've ever had, and it was by a long way as well. I believe you're faster at -1, I could be wrong. Doesn't really matter though, because he's got Truant. No attachment issues here. Yeah, this is a fun little section of movement here. I really enjoy. It's weird because I really don't enjoy the Weather Institute movement in Emerald, but in Sapphire it's quite comfy. When did I get attached? Right now. As soon as I had a 58 norm when I was attached. The honest answer. I like to be stoic and pretend that I wasn't, but yeah, first 58 norm when I was like, fuck me, I want this. Almost perfect movement to the Institute, bonked right at the end. I think I miss I think this is the only mudshot, is this one. Is it, the only mudshot miss is this one, if I remember rightly. Is it this one? They've all blended into one at this point. Yeah, it is. This is a really good mudshot to miss, if you're going to miss one, because these Carvana have random AI. And they have like one bad move. If you're going to miss any, you want to miss that one. Okay. My movement was a mixed bag this run. It gets worse. The better the pace gets, the worse my movement gets, because I start getting nervous. I have just put my shirt on in the VOD. But this was the point where I decided either I needed the shirt on or we're going live. I can't remember when I actually went live. I can't remember if it was before or after. It was around here anyway. Oh, I also screwed that up. So the pause there, because he spun around, it would have been totally fine to go, but I unpaused and wasn't ready to go. Didn't even ping. Dude, I was just stressing about playing the video game. Like, I was just stressing about playing the video game. I sort of, at some point before this fight, I was telling myself I'm not gonna go live. I'm just not gonna deal with it. We're just gonna play the run out. I just wanted to concentrate, and then it got that good. You're very likely to get swagger here. I was quite lucky that I got a bite. Saves having to heal that. Am I mashing L on GameCube controller for text? Yes. So The way I do it, thumb between A and B, and I like roll it left and right, and then tap along on the L button. It would be very uncomfortable. It's actually the input viewer that sort of saved me, because I can find because I can see on the input viewer when I do and don't activate the button, I can find the level that I can mash at where you don't have to click it. So the GameCube trigger has like an analog portion that's like literally a trigger, so that the more you press, the more you get, and then an actual clicky bit that you hit at the bottom. You don't need to hit the clicky bit to get the A press on a Game Boy player. You can actually just wiggle basically the analog up and down at the right height, and you'll get repeated A presses. Yeah, I only play with GameCube controller. I do all my movement with the D-pad as well, because that's what I'm used to and I like. Thanks, Monkey. Everybody hates the D-pad. I'm very used to being the GameCube D-pad's only enjoyer. It's just so slick for MacBite movement. The fact that it's so squishy and it rolls, and the up and down input windows are massive and the left and right are tiny. They're all terrible features that make it for a horrendous D-pad, but when you're used to it, it's so nice, because my thumb's fucking huge. I've got massive hands. I'm just a big guy. So I barely have to move my thumb at all to be able to get different inputs. I can just plant my thumb dead center of the D-pad and just basically roll it the direction I want. I would not recommend other people do it, and overall you're going to get better results by playing with an SB sat on your desk and playing overhand like Poker Guy does. Like, you'll notice, if you were to compare my market trips where you buy stuff, like the big fallible market trip, I will be a lot slower than everybody else in that, because you just physically can't mash the D-pad that quickly. So I have to make adjustments to that, but it's just so fucking clean for map biking. Yeah, and that's the other thing, I don't use the tip of my thumb, I use the base. Like the crease, basically, the knuckle of your thumb. It makes me laugh because Main talks about how his ability to execute in Pokemon speedruns was basically solved when I think it was Math Genius taught him to hold the controller claw grip so that he's using his fingertips for almost every button, and that is the exact opposite way I do everything. Like, I am entirely like thumb pads, finger pads. Like, I'm deep into the finger using the controller, which is a gross sentence. I hate that I've said that. This movement was really good. I love this movement. So I'm always going to be good at the movement I like. So yeah, we picked up the Persim earlier, so we get to skip picking this up, and we also get to do a repel and a bag manip here, all in one, which is nice. Flareon using analog stick on a GameCube controller is actually, like, worse. I'm sorry. Like, nobody can... my movement was sick there, by the way. But nobody can judge me. That is the worst thing I've ever heard. Dual wielding is great. I mean, I can't do it, but dual wielding is great. It's a really good option. Just to point out, I think I did every fucking MacBite movement there tile perfect. I then fucked up running into Mountpire. This one goes out to Jadiwi. Fairly certain when I ran Monkey Ball, I would obviously play Monkey Ball with the analog stick and then menu with the D-pad. So I'd jump between them all the time. not too much to talk about. We really don't want to miss mud shots. I actually lost I think the run that I got to Mount Pyre before this one died to missing a mud shot on one of these fish. I wouldn't die here if I missed one, but it's probably going to be slow. So, hopefully we don't. Thanks, man. But yeah, not too much to talk about here. This is another one against my old PB where I've got massive time save. So this is 40 seconds to save against my PB, potentially. And I didn't get a Persum, so all of that 40 seconds would have been on the table. I don't know what the book... well, I know Maine had the best Winona split, and it was a 114. I don't remember what it... Well, I'm sure I could actually look it up. Because I'm sure it's in like run rants or something. I'm sure he posted his splits. So 114.28. Okay. So spoiler alert: we don't get the best Winona time ever here, but we do get close. This is probably a menu I could do with learning the more optimal one. I think giving... Well, I don't know. It's probably worth looking into. I don't know if giving the Mystic Water there is faster. If you don't need to attach Mystic Water straight away, I don't know if it's faster to give it there or if it's to attach it in the menu coming up after this. Yeah, Winona's Gym. My health is fairly good. It's maybe a little bit high. If I don't take any damage, I'm going to be probably in the 70s or 80s, which is too high to get Torrent reasonably on the Swallow, which means we're probably going to have to hit Surf through 1 to 2 double teams. This Swablu has Fury Attack, Sing, Mist, and Safeguard. Mist and Safeguard are great. Sing, Miss is great. Fury Attack's alright if you don't get a high roll. Or you could just crit it. So I got Sing, and it hit, which is annoying. And then I got Fury Attack. I just rolled my eyes in the VOD, fun fact. So, this is a double-edged sword. That's really fucking slow. Like, compared to just getting, like, missed and killing it turn 2, that's really fucking slow. But my health is way better now. After the Evo, I'm gonna be, like, 55. And 1 Aerial Ace is gonna put me into Torrent. So the way the Winona fight goes, normally you set up an X speed on Swallow, and normally it double teams. If you don't have Torrent, you need to set up an X spec to kill the Swallow. If you do have Torrent, you can just go straight away. So at this health, what I really want to happen is to X speed, and then have it hit me. Because it'll hit me into Torrent, and then I can 100% hit it with Surf, rather than having to hit through any double teams. I still don't know if I do this movement optimally. I can't see any other way that you could do it, but I always, every time I get here, there's a little bit of me that's like, maybe I'm doing this puzzle wrong. It's also really weird to me, there's like 2 trainers here that seem like they should always hit you. And you have like 1 tile to work with where you can avoid them. Yeah, this is a really weird fight because we set up both X items. We're going to set up a special and an attack at some point. But the first thing is the speed. And then for the first time in my life, I get Aerial Ace into Torrent and can just guarantee the Swallow. What a world. Thanks, Waff. Actually good to know. Don't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm probably going to end up having to heal because I'm quite low already. But this has the advantage that Pelipper doesn't want to protect. I think I make a slight misplay here. I think I should have healed on the Pelipper here because it would have dropped me to about 42, I think. 45? Because this is still a range. This is a 12 and 16 range on the Skarmory. If I miss it, I was dead. And 42 was perfectly fine health, so that definitely was a misplay. But I've never been in that situation before, so I'm not exactly massively upset at myself. Dragon Breath was scary here because paralysis would have been kind of ass. And then Earthquake here was fast, but it did mean having to burn potion. So this Winona split could have been better. Swablu cost me a lot, ironically. But the Winona fight itself was amazing. I really can't complain with that. And yeah, best ever Winona split before, well, going into this was a 1:14.28 by main. So this is an extremely good Winona time. Yes, that Altaria has Dragon Dance. I actually kind of wanted it to Dragon Dance because Dragon Dance Earthquake wouldn't have killed. And if it did Dragon Dance, it wouldn't have hit me and my health would have been perfect. Whereas I had to potion here to get good health. But at this point we are live. I've actually hit the streaming button, I think. I think the first chat message pops up in the VOD somewhere around here. I'm also panicking like shit because I think before this my best ever Winona time wasn't even a 1:14. Is that right? Maybe I'm wrong actually. I know I had one like really crazy time. 15-16. Oh, there was the ridiculously good one that died to Flannery. 15-49. I've been posting in run rants a lot. Can't imagine why. No, I don't think so. I think this is like my best Winona time by over half a minute. And also didn't get any extraneous encounters. No marrows, no tentacles. Good bop, Jadiwi. What time did Jadiwi quote unquote get? I don't remember what it was. $156.55. Ah. Was that a record when he allegedly set it? I thought he claimed record. Maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe he didn't. Yeah, my health coming into this fight was excellent. My tank crunch. I kind of didn't want to see one though, because then my health is still excellent for the Zati. Crit on the Carvana was useless. And we got focus energy, which is really good. Yeah, that's... I just had it in my head that he'd claimed record with it, but I could just be wrong. Maybe that was part of his ruse. Yeah, getting focus energy there is great. No risk of a crit kill. Health is really good for Zatu, and I have Torrent for this Mighty Inner, so this is guaranteed. Yeah, but the DS conversion thing's more recent than Jadiwi, I think. How the hell did he fake a run on DS? That's what I'm saying, I thought the conversion thing happened after Jadiwi. You wouldn't have known that it could have been converted. Anyway, let's not spend time talking about filthy cheats. So yes, we have very good health. This health would be excellent to go into TNL with, so the ideal scenario from Xatu is to see 0 nightshades. 1 would have been totally fine. Preference would have been 0. Also critting the Xatu is excellent. That does happen. I've had that happen twice. Oh wait, I've never crit... This is a really weird stat. So I've crit this Xatu twice, and going off of my like split placement, I've only ever got to the TNL split 19 times. Crit it twice. The Meditite in Watson's gym, I've never crit. Never once crit it. But yeah, I got double future sight. This is like an amazing setup. So my health is perfect going into TNL now. I think I end up wasting some steps here. I think on the very final button, I think I've pressed A on it and then walk away, and I haven't. Is that this run or is it another one? Yep. Good job, buddy. You have to press the A button. Lunatone does... I can't remember exactly how much it is, but the reason why this health is so good is because at this health, Lunatone does kill you with Psychic and Solrock doesn't. So, with the setup we have, Lunatone will see a kill on both Pokemon regardless of which one it targets. Solrock will also see a kill on both Pokemon regardless of which one it targets, because Solar Beam always kills Swampert, regardless of what health you have. I felt nervous straight after Norman. The nerves really ramped up once I got past Archie 2, but I was nervous from Norman. So yeah, that's the point of Super Potioning here, is that I won't see double Psychic, so I can't die here from both of them Psychicking Swampert, because Solrock won't Psychic, because it doesn't see the kill. So the only one that can damage me but not kill me is Lunatone, and if it does that, I'm still then dead and can still get not shit. I can get Psychic, which is a not shit move from both Pokemon. Solrock Solar Beam's turn 1, so we get to dive. They kill Wingull and Abra, which is really good. So this is all going really well. I get to free Rain Dance here. This is to counteract Solrock potentially using Sunny Day, and then Lunatone Calm Mind, which is terrible. So it picked Swampert, didn't see a kill, and went with Calm Mind, and Solrock Sunny Day'd. If I hadn't picked Rain Dance here, this is just dead. I'd just lose. Thankfully, I always Rain Dance as a safety, but this is really fucking slow, which sucks. That Rain Dance is good though, so now Surf kills Solrock. I deliberately Powder Snow here because I know there's a chance that Lunatone could fuck me over. So single hit Surf here on Lunatone is going to do enough to kill for certain, but if I got another Calm Mind, which I did, I had no idea if this killed or not. And you can see me, like, my reaction in the VOD is horrific. I'm like, oh, what the fuck to do? Because the only option here is to press Surf. I don't know if it kills or not at +2. I felt like it wouldn't, and I would be really interested to know if that does kill on average, or if the Powder Snow's made a difference there, because I have a feeling they may have made a difference. It might have just been the rolls as well. I think I played that as well as I could. That fight was scuffed. That was a really bad setup. That whole fight was not great at all. Really slow because of Sunny Day and then Rain Dance and double Calm Mind, and etc. But we lived, and that was all I needed. At this point, with this kind of lead, this was all I needed, was just to live. To give you an idea of like pace, I knew that if I left Archie 2 at minus 40 was the cutoff, where if I was more than 40 seconds ahead of PB, I could get record without having to do the surfless strats on Kyogre, so with a really safe endgame. Not really safe, but as safe as I can make it, could still get record. And minus 120 was the point where I could look at doing surfless to get 155. So I knew my pace requirements. Sorry, I dropped my ring. Hey, Joanna. Double Carmine and living is kind of unheard of, I think. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like only dying with a max roll or something horrendous. There you go. I've literally just tipped. Oh dear. Milady. To be honest, I have no idea off the top of my head. God, I'm funny. What this hat even is. This was a present off my dad. I guess it's probably just the Ash Catcher. I could be wrong there. I don't know. But my dad was just like, Pokemon hat. Present. Yeah. But yeah, so my health, what did I leave TNL with? 90, I think? It's really good health. It's not quite perfect, like 80 is about perfect. 80 to 85. You want to be able to tank 2 crunches and 1 rough skin recoil. May hat would be fun. Get Shelly bandana. But yeah, this help's really, really nice. The ideal scenario here would have been crunch into focus energy. Now I deliberately strength here because I don't have torrent, and the recoil's going to give me torrent if I don't get crunch. And somehow I got taunt at 50, which is nuts. So this was a really good play. Now this health is amazing. So the Mighty dies because of torrent, and the health is perfect to go into Archie without having to heal. So this is potentially really, really fast if we get a good Archie fight. And this Shelly fight's ass. I've lost so many runs to this fight. This is where the movement flubs really start kicking in. I'm really nervous at this point because I know that my setup is really good for Archie too. I know that this has some real potential now. Because I feel like you can't be too attached to a run until you past Archie 2. Like, the Mighty Enna here can just pick takedown turn 1, and then you can still live, but your run's going to be ass. Like, even with a minute lead, if it picked takedown turn 1, I'm losing most of it. And this thing seems to love to take down randomly. So this is all going very well. No swagger, no takedown. Still going great. At this point we might as well speed. And that is perfect setup. That is so fucking good. All I have to do here is dodge Crobat crit. Which, thankfully, it picks Wing Attack. So at this point, I'm freaking the fuck out because now it's Kyogre Manip. That's the only thing left that I have to do that really, really is difficult. And I know that this pace is... I know that this pace is great going into this. I didn't realise how fucking good this Archie 2 split was either. Bearing in mind what I just said about paces, about how minus 40 is recordable without Surfless, minus 120 is 155able with Surfless. So I see this split, minus 126, and it's like, I'm gonna have to commit to Surfless if I get mild. if I see 156 HP and it's a mild Kyogre, I'm gonna go for Surfless. I'm gonna go for, let's fucking skip the 156. Thanks, Woodland. How long's my grind been for this category? Not that long. I say I ran the run, the old route, towards the end of last year for like a month. And got like a 200 flat. And then I've been running the new route for maybe 3 months. So, nothing really in the grand scheme of like PSR grind. But with quite a big caveat, the new route has its advantages. It mostly has its advantage in that my mental playing this run is so much better. On this new route, it's like so much more fun, which makes me far more likely to just keep playing the game. I stopped playing the early Brawly route really, really quickly. Didn't even get sub 2. I was just like, oh, this is dull. I want to keep dying in the early game. This route is insanely fun. Might be better than Emerald, honestly. As much as I have spent years shit talking Sapphire, and I will still shit talk the early Brawly route, but this route is insanely fucking fun. It's like concentrated Gen 3. It's so fun. And that's not just hyperbole because I got record. Like, I was feeling that way after probably the 15709. I was like, wow, there's still just so much time to save, it feels like. Oh, I never even played the Abraless version. I'm talking about the route that I played first, which was at the end of last year, was Abra, but early Brawly. Never even touched Abraless. No, the route where CCB was a massive issue sounded even worse. So I'm glad I had nothing to do with that. My microphone's gain is really loud. But yeah, at this point in the run, I'm shitting bricks. This is gonna be like I'm aware of the fact that this is gonna be possibly the best ever pace that I will have going into Kyogre Minute. This is the time to hit Kyogre. And not only to hit it, but to have a shot at 155, I really, really want to hit mild. I wasn't thinking too much about that, I won't lie. I was mostly thinking about hitting. This should be best ever pace out of anybody for Archie 2, yeah. I'd be really, really surprised. So this is the bit I was talking about way earlier in the run where if I'd have tracked my step counter properly and was confident in it, I could have saved a bit further back and put some of those running tiles into this manip. At this point, I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to do the manip and get it done with. I was not going to fuck about doing that. So this manip is probably the worst manip. It's kind of hard to compare, but it's one of the worst manips in all of PSR. The stat window is 4 frames, but 3 of those suck compared to mild. Mild is so fucking good. And then the catch window is 3 frames across 2 inputs, across the bag and ball. So if you're a frame late on the bag, it moves where the 3 frame window for the ball, it moves it forward or back a frame. I'm just going to hide my camera for a second. Because you caught the end of it, but I freak the fuck out on the camera when I hear this. I watched this back and was like, Jesus, a demon fucking took hold of me. I was so fucking happy to hit this. This is the most stressful fucking manip I have ever done. Like, I think I just all that tension had built up just fucking evaporated out of me as quickly as possible. And then at this point, I've taught Shockwave and Seed, and I've got 156 HP, and it's like, fuck me, we can go for 155. Yeah, and so this is where I commit. So there's it's technically a YOLO strat. You would normally teach Surf to Kyogre here because Surf is really powerful and 100% accurate. For every Kyogre, but it's most useful for the mild Kyogre. You can skip teaching Surf and try and rely on hitting. For mild, you have to hit 4 Hydro Pumps across the whole run. I think they're like 75 to 80% accurate, can't remember. And then it adds in a 13 and 16 range on one of the Pokemon in the Phoebe fight as well. But it saves 25 seconds. So my PB that I'm comparing to in this run hit Surfless completely, but it did miss one Hydro Pump for a single turn in the Sydney split. So it's like 11 seconds off of perfect. I have gone back through and checked the pace and tried to figure out, you know, did I need Surfless? Could I have 155 from this without Surfless? And the answer was actually no. The answer is technically maybe if everything went literally fucking perfect. Like, quick attack from Ninetales probably killed it. Like, that's how close it was. So picking Surfless here was correct. At least at this point, the actual issue, as it actually turns out, I actually had more time to play with because I didn't realise that the best in this Wallace split was as beatable as it was. But it still would have been close. I still don't regret picking Surfless. I was given the opportunity here to absolutely kill Sapphire, like, for a long, long time. I don't regret taking it. So this is the first Hydro Pump, which we hit. And then for the rest of the fight, we just want to avoid getting confused again from the Seeking or Milotic, because Luvdis took my person. Getting the person taken is the better option. You do actually want to get confused once. Having to attach the Persim and then attach Mystic Water over the Persim is quite silly. But obviously getting confused twice sucks ass. Especially against the Seeking, because it outspeeds, so you can't really heal the confusion. You could heal it and then just get confused again. But yeah, I'm at this point in the run. I'm at the point where I'm just praying every turn. I'm just like, don't do this. Just don't do this. Just don't do this. Don't do that. Yeah, don't get confused. Every single turn, I'm just like, just give me the good shit. Yeah, this was a surprisingly big goal. I don't entirely understand. I think I must have just executed really well. My movement in Cave of Origin was really, really clean. I think I bonked once. Surfless obviously saves time, because you literally don't teach Surf in this split, so that's like the majority time save. Minus a minute 46. I don't think, without a reroute, I don't think anybody will ever beat that Wallace time. I could be wrong, but I'm nearly a minute ahead of the previous record, which didn't do Surfless. Like, at this point, I could have taught Surf, and potentially, but it's like so borderline, because it's like, yeah, I'm 58 seconds ahead, I only need to be 47 seconds ahead, but the previous record has already taught Surf, which takes about 11 seconds, so I'm like exactly fucking borderline. Also, I went to try and teach Waterfall here, which I didn't need to do because I've already done it. This is where we get some weird flubs here at the end game as well, just purely because of nerves. I'm running on so much adrenaline and trying to read my notes and trying to make sense of some of it. Like, sometimes, like, these are notes that I've looked at for what feels like, what, it's fucking 700 attempts of Sapphire, and then sometimes you look at them and it's like, yeah, but what does that mean? It's like, you just way fucking overthinking stuff. It's like, well, the note said I needed to teach Waterfall, so I went to Waterfall. Yeah, it's, there was the option to potentially teach Surf. If I ever really felt like I didn't need it, I could have just taught Surf and played the rest of the run out safer. But I'd hard committed at this point. I was never going to change it. I was basically always going to commit to Surfless from here. But you do have the option if you don't want to. Sorry, I'm just going to hide my camera again because you can't quite see it, but there was a point here. So I can't remember why I'd gone into OBS just to check on something. So I saw Twitch chat for the first time at any point in this run. And the message right at the bottom was from Macwing, and it just says, "Call me Geodude because I'm polishing my rock." Just for whatever reason. It kind of settled me a bit because I was laughing so hard. I was trying not to, like, fucking laugh. I'll put the camera on bottom left. I'm not going to be able to do that. Oh no, maybe I can. let's do a... There's not much happening while we're in Elite Four. We do a bit of this. Yeah, look at that. So that's my live camera in the bottom right as well. So you can see how I was reacting at the time. Yeah, Joe, I didn't see that at all. Thankfully. Thank fucking fuck. But yeah, Macwing, I think just missed me attach it here. And was absolutely freaking out that I hadn't attached Mystic Water. Which thankfully I was not in my chat, because I think I would have freaked out as well. Yeah. But I know I play better when I'm not paying attention to chat, so I've got to be honest, completely ignored chat. I just had it minimized, was not looking at it at all. I will have to mute myself now when we get to the champion fight, because at the time me starts talking and I didn't have alternative tracks, so I'm gonna have to let him talk for a bit. But it's kind of fine because he'll sum up my feelings at the time a lot better than I will now. But yeah. Really, there's a really great flub as I'll go into the ladder here to the final, or to the second to last room. And I'm going to go into Emerald mode and try and do run minute. And then remember that I'm in Sapphire. We can get on the bike because there's no fucking trainer there. Still to this day, the Emerald muscle memory fucks me. Further flubs as well. I should be off the bike here. I'm wasting time. But it's all just like nerves, basically. This was terrible. Movement was so ass. Thankfully, this is like the last actual section of Mac biking. Emmy record next? No, probably not. It's going to be more Sapphire, glitchless, like I say, for at least a couple of weeks. I wanna try for one. I want to give 155 a try, basically, because I had a shot here, and I'm not that happy with this run. Ultimately, the execution was middling to poor across the whole run, and just being this fucking like spoiler alert to anybody who's watching this and doesn't know what the finishing time was, but being this far ahead and finishing like 15 seconds off below the current record is really upsetting. This run could have fucking killed this category. Like at this point right now where I am in the run, I'm so far ahead and with so much more time saved potentially. I would like to go back to Moon at some point. Moon's on the list. What else is there? Sapphire any percent. Once that route gets fleshed out a bit more, I definitely want to give that a go. It might be a meme day or two where I do some Ruby as well. That feels like something I capitalize on while I'm here. And I was the original Ruby runner, lol. But yeah, so nothing particularly to talk about in any of those fights up until this point, but then this Gardevoir, normally you would surf it if you taught surf. As we have skipped it, we need to hit Hydro Pump. And this is where my life starts to derail. You miss one, and it has double team. We miss two, and it has double team. At this point, look at my reaction, I'm so stressed. There's only two left to hit. I missed three! And if I miss the last one, we're just dead. That's it, the run's over. And hitting this one is, what's 60% of 80%? Okay, we hit it, lol. What is 60% of 80%? 3/5. 4/5 is... Oh fuck, I don't know. I can't do the fucking math. Well, it's 48%. It's less than 50%. So it was a biased coin flip at that point. But even then, even with those 3 misses, 155 was still possible. Everything had to be perfect from here. We had to get the ideal fights. I had to hit the 1 ranger that was left and hit 2 Hydro Pumps. And not get body slam para from Celia. So they're the only real things. So there's a 13 and 16 range on the first Dusclops on Phoebe. There's an 80% Hydro Pump to hit on the last Dusclops of Phoebe. There's an 80% Hydro Pump to hit on the first Glalie of Glacier. And then there's a body slam that can paralyze that we want to avoid 30% paralysis on Glalie Celia. And then after that it's really obscure shit. Oh, and there's also the Absol in this fight has Snatch, which is like 2 seconds lost, and the Shiftry has Fake Out, which is like 11 seconds. Something terrible. I did Giga, yes. This is a post commentary for it. I got the record last night. Thanks, man. So yeah, even with all that time loss, to be fair, I started the run offline and I started streaming it like in the final 45 minutes because it was just insane pace. Unless you happened to be online in that 1 hour where I happened to stream it, you would have missed it. Yeah, unfortunately I got the Snatch from Absol, which is not the worst. It's only a couple of seconds. And unfortunately, I also got Fake Out, which does suck. Because you outspeed the Shiftry, and then you get the Flinch Text, and then you get the Rain Text. It's really hard. So that's Sydney split. Like, there's 40 seconds to save against that one split, which is very silly. But even then, even now, like, 155 was just possible. Just. So my best possible time says 155.41, but that includes a Drake fight where you don't X-speed, which you can only do with Hasty. So the actual best time for the strats I was doing right now was about a 155.53, somewhere around there. So this Dusclops is a 13 and 16 range. That's the worst one. Ironically, considering that you're risking Hydro Pumps and Hydro Pumps missing and whatever, missing that waterfall is way worse than missing any of the Hydro Pumps, generally. And then, like, the other really big time save of Surfless, other than the fact that you don't teach Surf, is this fight. Because normally, with every Kyogre that you use in this fight, you would, on the final Dusclops, you would Shockwave and then Surf. Because Surf never kills on its own. But because Hydro Pump has just a bit more damage, it's enough that with the really good Kyogre, specifically just Mild, you can kill with Hydro Pump. This is like the other massive time save. Because you always give this Dusclops a turn otherwise. It would normally Shadow Ball you, which you'd then end up having to heal later, or it will Confuse Ray, which you have to heal immediately. And then it would Shadow Ball anyway, which you'd have to heal right before Glacier. So that's why we get 10 seconds back on record there. So realistically, the only thing that stood between me now and 155 is hitting a Hydro Pump on this first Glalie, and then not getting Body Slam Para from Celio turn 3. Thanks, Seaman. Thanks, Holy Axe. So we hit the Hydro Pump. That's us done with Hydro Pumps now. I don't have to hit them more. We've lost one. Oh no. So yeah, we have to set up 3 expects. Celio always hails turn 1, and then always body slams turn 2. So we just had to dodge this. I think it's 30% for body slam to barra here. And unfortunately we get it. So this kills 155 immediately. And then things get really complicated when I get body slam crit here. So the actual correct strat, as Wave Warrior has told me. Also, I fucking Hydro Punch this, which you see me freak out about. It does die, but you shouldn't Hydro Pump it. The reason why I Hydro Pump there is because I think I'm in slot 1 and I need to move right for Shockwave. I'm actually in slot 4 and I need to move up. So I press right. Obviously didn't go anywhere. The actual correct strat here, so there was a slight misplay, but this was just purely knowledge. I've never known this situation before. What I actually should have done is set up the 3rd X-Spec on the first Celio and then healed Paralysis, so that it can't paralyze with the 2nd Body Slam. And then I also wouldn't have ended up in this scenario where I needed to set up the X-Spec on Celio here, but I was so close to dead and I didn't know how many hail turns there were left that I ended up healing, which caused Celio to set up another hail. Thanks, Detective. 154 is probably never going to happen. On this route, anyway. It'd be really difficult. Ooh, Tenta. But yeah, so that at this point I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm gonna lose record to this. Like, this is so much fucking time loss again. 155's firmly dead. And now it's like I could potentially lose record. So I figured it out afterwards. The only thing that could really happen, because this Altaria, the only things we're gonna give any turns to are the Altaria here and the Skarmory in Champion. The Altaria here can't really do much because I'm at full health. It will almost certainly Dragon Dance, and even if it hits me, it can't get me anywhere near dead, so we're not worried about that at all. But the Skarmory, because I'm above 50% health, I didn't know Shelgon could protect. That is funny. I had no idea. I've never seen that before. Well, I could have had that, I guess. But because I'm above 50% health, there is a reasonable chance that the Skarmory can use Toxic, which I have to heal off. I have no idea how much time it costs to heal Toxic, but it's probably in the range of about 14-15 seconds. It's somewhere, it'll be somewhere between like 11 and 16, sort of depending on how long the text takes and the HP scroll and whatever. It's not a lot of HP that you lose, but things like if it Dragon Dance there as opposed to Takedown, like Dragon Dance is slower, so would that factor in? There was a lot of here like, oh my god, I could actually fucking lose this. like this could actually fucking happen. My notes are just same. Well, my notes are just a copy of Main's, I think. I'm sure that's who I copied mine from. Just with additional things that I've learned along the way, edited in. It's all about the prac. So yeah, this is where I talked about earlier, we'll always lose time on this Drake fight because there's a hasty Kyogre you can get that's fast that doesn't have to X speed on that fight. So yeah, if you look at old me in the camera, I'm absolutely begging for no Toxic here. There's no audio because I don't unmute the mic until I actually get past Skarmory. But when I do unmute the mic, I will switch little me back on. We will unleash him, that's correct. So yeah, Toxic here could have lost me record. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it would have. I'd have still got record, but it'd been like 1 or 2 seconds. But it does not matter when you get spikes. And now I will hand over to old me. Well, I ain't gonna lie. That sucks. That really fucking blows. But I got shafted. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy as fuck that I've got record. Ah, but this was so 155able even after the God of War misses. And it just got fucked. Fucking Sapphire record, what a game. Can somebody please redirect me to Emerald? I'm clearly very lost. Thank you for not killing the category. It would have been dead, man. It would have been fucking dead. It would have been 155 and it would have been like a mid fucking 155. I'm so mad about this record. Imagine being upset that I got a record. Oh, look at the fucking pace. Jesus Christ. Thank you for the GGs, guys. I am happy. I'm going to be mad as well. I'm both at the same time. It really is the duality of man. I'm so sad. I'm so fucking sad. So fucking sad that that had to die the way it did. Well, the fun bit is that I started this run offline, and I'm fairly certain this was the run where about 10 minutes into it, my PC went, "Hey, you're running low on disk space." Now I did delete some stuff, but this could be the funniest fucking record ever where I go back and check the VOD and it's like, oh, 3 minutes of it's missing. Oh, that's a 156 and that is record. Verified or unverified, who knows? Thank you everybody that's here. I'm sorry this was a bit of an impromptu go live, but that Winona time was nutty, so I didn't think it was very fair to just keep doing it offline. And then the Wallace, the minus 146 is ridiculous. Alright, I'm just going to fade him out and bring myself back. Shut up, me. So I needed to just let the audio play there so that the submission can actually have full audio for all of it. Excuse not being able to listen to the end game audio, but I can't sort it right now. Man, I'm loud. Shut up, me. Shut the fuck up. I can hear myself coming through the headphones. I didn't realise how bad my microphone peaks, actually. Wow, what are the chances? So yeah, that is the new Sapphire record. I said it as much at the end of the run yesterday, and I'll say it again today. I do not think this will last very long. There are plenty of runners that are capable of beating this. Unfortunately, I'm about the only one that seems to be running the category at the moment, which is a shame. But Macwing in the chat, thank you, man, is one of them. Macwing could definitely do this. Main could do this if he comes back to Sapphire. Icy could do this. He's gone to a Fire Red round, or Leaf Green round too. But he could get this done. Wave could if he comes back. Truly could if he comes back. Yeah. Blue Magma, yeah. I'm sort of in the right place at the right time that everybody else distracted. So, Pokeguy's a big name to shout out because he was doing runs of this for a bit, although he's moved back to red. Gunnar could easily come back. He's got the bit of motivation now that he's lost record. So yeah, this record was taken from Gunnar. So, and yeah, it's not that big of a record. If you look at the pace, look at the pace. Like, I lost over a minute in the Elite Four. this could have been a one, like, without even that unreasonable look, could have been a 155.29 quite comfortably. Look at the fucking pace. Yeah. Yeah. So just to answer some questions that popped up in chat, I did respond by text, but yeah, what time do I confidently think I could get with my current skill? Low 155, 154 is a very outside chance. I would not grind for 154. But a run that's a smidge better than this, which is a big fucking ask because this is a 58.43 Norman, but you could have a better Norman. A run that's like a 58.30 Norman could 154. Oh, those fucking ads, how annoying. I'm going to keep talking for a bit. I didn't realise the ads were running, otherwise I would have dismissed them. I'm going to keep talking for a little bit, but that'll be this will just be for the video's sake, and I'll come back and answer what questions people have again. Hello, Slimping. Only audio listeners dodge ads. But yeah, that'll be the end of it, at least for the video on YouTube. Thank you very much to the people that are watching on there. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. The footage is still playing because I dicked about in the end game for a long while. But there's nothing really interesting happens here. I think I go to Skypillar at some point. But yeah, come watch me on twitch.tv/AmoebaUK. I'm going to spend some time yet still running this game. Hopefully there will be another record to come soon.